has kind of been forced upon us in society. You know, we feel like we have to conform to just being with one person. To be honest, like, I should have just left the relationship if I wasn't happy, or communicated that to my partner, like, in the moment. Maybe a phone call like, hey, you know, there's this girl and I'm really interested in her, like, what's going on with us? I mean, it wouldn't have been ideal, but it would have been honest. And also, you know, I was about 23, 24 at the time. I would have handled it much differently now.
Hello. Do 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 do. Too many screens. Oh, that music's too loud on my end. I know, pause. Okay. Nom 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 nom. Pretty book for book night. Sorry about glare. It's quite literally called The Raven. It's an anthology that Guillermo del Toro actually put together, which is cool. And I've got my little tabs for all of the stories. Dang Edgar Allan Poe, huh? I don't know how dank it's gonna be. I don't even know where I want to start because, well, I have so many tabs. It's like, these are the ones I want to do. But they put all the poems at the back, which kind of sucks. Because you'd think it's called The Raven. Put The Raven at the beginning, not at the end. Oh well. What can we do? Oh my goodness, I should not be tired. Oh goodness. Ba 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 ba. That's okay, Koshka. I know not everybody in the Twitch fam is following me, and it doesn't bother me. I'm not following everyone in the Twitch fam. There's so many people. Hey, Mez! Welcome, welcome. It is currently 25.5 degrees centigrade in my room. So if you hear any like white noise off to one side, it's my fan. So I don't die. Hi! I love my little scully hands. Why are you not sucking water bottle? That's better. Do do do. Bitch! Bitties! That's a nickel. Yeah, I changed things up a little bit because reading's fun, but you run out of visual novels pretty quick when you're reading them every week. I don't know what one I want to do. I think I want to do my favorite first, which is The Black Cat. But yeah, this is a book that my ex-boyfriend's grandmother gave me for Christmas a few years ago, and she gave me a matching mug. You can't see there. I forgot how I have my thing set up. It's a raven to go with the raven, because it was a themed Christmas present that year. But yeah, it's introduction by series editor. Oh, excuse me. Guillermo del Toro. Introduction by S.T. Joshi, which I'm gonna skip. I have a lot of mugs. I have 3 mugs on my desk right now. So I've got my last coffee mug. This one you might not be able to see very well. Tempting. It's got deer on it that change color when it's hot. All of this dark blue changes color. And snowflakes. It's dirty because I drink my tea in it. And then I got my coffee stained Tim Hortons mug because Canada. It was their Christmas mugs from 3 years ago. Thanks, May! Haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back! Maybe Koshko, you can do up a channel on your server, and it's like our mug collection. I would have to put my tea collection in there too. I have a lot of tea. My sister's not here right now, I don't think. I don't see her talking. But, yeah, I have a lot of tea. Oh no! See, now I'm gonna have to refresh just so I can see that channel being there. Mug there it is. Please post your mugs here. Well done, Ms. That's easy because I can just take pictures with my cell phone and then upload them with my cell phone. Oh my goodness, it's so hot in here. I don't know. That is my current ambient temperature and the humidity in my office. Yeah, I hear you, May. I hear you, especially since hubby quit the monsters. I bet he goes through a lot of tea now. I don't know if you guys see, but I have a lot of fuzz on my claw? Pillowcase. Mug channel forever! I might have to add a mug channel to my server too. I don't know. Yeah, I think I want to do the Black Cat. And this music is definitely not what I thought it was going to be. I don't even know what I would use. Grr, pretzel, why you got to search creepy, spooky, one song, Halloween. Nope, pretzel's got nothing for me today. Oh, I will live after I scratch my nose. Oh my goodness. You don't realize how dusty your monitors are until you have a light shining right above them. Because I have a light, like, right here. Like, this is one camera and then my light is right above it. So all I see is the dust. Oh well. Actually, we'll start with the Raven, because it's Edgar Allan Poe, damn it! Grrr, why my nose so itchy? And yes, I did all these tabs up today so that I would know where my favorite ones are. Why am I yawning? I did the exact same thing but 24-hour stream. Wouldn't shut up yawning. Oh, excuse me. Nom 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 nom. I think that music's still too loud. It's just supposed to be background music. So, all of these are Edgar Allan Poe, so I will not preface it with by Edgar Allan Poe, because that's just redundancy at its finest. It's getting warmer in here still. So, The Raven. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as if someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door, "only this, and nothing more." Distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore. There is a window in my office, May, but because of work I have to keep the windows closed so people don't hear important information. And I just haven't opened it yet. Plus, I have weirdos walking around my house. I don't want them to hear me talking. So where was I? Sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before. So that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more." Yeah, it sucks me. It sucks. I should probably point this down a little bit since my head's down, so you can look at my chesticles more. Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door, darkness there and nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, chesticles." Yeah, okay, Miss. Vivi is innocent. Oh, you guys need to see her. If you haven't already, I just gotta find it. Oh my god, all of the emotes. I'm using a new chat app, and all of the emotes are all over the place. Oh my god, I just want my emotes, damn it. There we go. Pink. That's my Stacy. It's my little pig. It's the same little pig that's right here. My pigoo. Oh my goodness. Where am I? Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the darkness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, Lenore. Yes, it's a pigoo. I drew it. I'm pointing at it on my screen because apparently I'm dumb. Pigoo. Stacy the sassy pig. I have this camera all twisted around, so it looks good for you guys, but it's really confusing for me. This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, Lenore. Merely this and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon I heard again a tapping, somewhat louder than before. Surely, said I, surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see, then, what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more. Open here I flung the shutter, when, with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mine of lord or lady perched above my chamber door. Perched upon a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door. Perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. Though thy crest be shorn and shaven now, I said, art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, nevermore. Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, "Doubtless," said I, "what it utters is its only stock in store, caught from some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore of never, nevermore." But the raven still beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of the bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt and ominous bird of yore, meant in croaking nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat dividing, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet light lining with the lamplight gloating o'er she shall press, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose faint footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. "Wretch," I cried, "thy God hath led thee, by these angels he has sent thee, respite and nepenthe from my memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." "Prophet," said I, "thing of evil, prophet still of if bird or devil, whether tempter sent or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." "Prophet," said I, "thing of evil, prophet still if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aidenn it shall clasp a saint and maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." "Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend," I shrieked upstarting. "Get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken, quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws a shadow on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. Ta-da! I'm still not 100% sure the meaning behind the poem of the raven. It's definitely grief over Lenore, which he does have a poem about. I think this set is chronological, because there's Lenore, there it is there. But I want to do the black cat next, because it's my favorite. Other than the raven, it was the black cat that got me into it. Hello, Popcorn! Welcome to the stream, and thank you for the bit. Don't know how long you've been watching, how long you've been listening, but hopefully you caught a bit of the raven. It's Edgar Allan Poe night. Oh my goodness, it's water time too. Num water. Num. Now it's the black cat. Like I was saying, it's the black cat is the story by Edgar Allan Poe that got me hooked on him. That and the Cask of Amontillado, and basically any of the ones that I have tagged here, like Telltale Heart, The Pit and the Pendulum, Fall of the House of Usher is really good too. Like, there's so many in here. I don't even know. They don't say how many there is in here. And there's some here that I had never even heard of before until I got this. So I was like, oh! This is actually the first time I've cracked this book open this far, was today. Which is another reason why I was kind of going for the, oh, I know, Amontillado so good. It's another reason why I kind of wanted to go the route of books instead of visual novels, because I've got that tag. Books instead of visual novels, because I want to start reading physical books more. And what better time to do it than on stream? You guys get to hear good stories, I get to read good stories, and I get to practice my out loud talking and tripping over words. Oh, excuse me. It's too bad it doesn't say what year the Black Cat was written in. I do have another collection of Edgar Allan Poe, and it's got the years, which is really nice because you can see how his writing evolved over the years. Or devolved, I suppose, is more of what it ended up being. But, okay, so, The Black Cat. For the most wild yet most holy narrative which I am about to pen, I neither expect nor solicit belief. Mad indeed would I be to expect it in a case where my very senses reject their own evidence. Yet mad I am not, and very surely do I not dream. But tomorrow I die, and today I would unburden my soul. Oh, it says unburthen. Okay. I don't like how it's. Oops. Oh, I love physical books. I don't like how the end of the rows are edited. It's got the dashes, which is very confusing if you don't read fast enough. Well, out loud. My immediate purpose is to place before the world, plainly, succinctly, and without comment, a series of more mere household events. In their consequences, these events have terrified, have tortured, have destroyed me. Yet I will not attempt to expound them. To me, they have presented little but horror. To many, they will seem less terrible than Baroque's. Hereafter, perhaps, some intellect may be found which will reduce my phantasm to the commonplace, some intellect more calm, more logical, and far less excitable than my own, which will perceive, in the circumstances I detail with awe, nothing more than an ordinary succession of very natural causes and effects. I agree, Mez. Oh yeah, it's, for me, May, it's just the feeling of turning the pages, even if it's just a cheap smut novel like Harlequin Romance or something. It's just the feeling of turning the page as you go, or of sticking a bookmark in to hold your place, because I don't fold the corners. I was trained at a very young age to not fold corners, and yes, the edges are black. Mez, I've been living in this apartment for almost a year, and I still have 2 boxes of books I haven't unpacked. Yeah, and I've already got 1 bookshelf full. Yes, Mez! Them and the ones who do this with paperbacks. Like, I don't mind holding it flat because it's got a cover that I can lay it flat. But if it was a paperback, no cracks at all, unless it was a secondhand book that I bought. My mom taught me at a very early age, don't dog your pages, don't crack spines, take very good care of books. Oh, May, I absolutely love, most people are going to hate me when I say this, I love cardboard boxes. I can fit, oh my god, how many do I have in one of my boxes? I've got to have at least 100 books in one of my boxes out in the front room. And they all fit perfectly. Not a single one is getting bent. Yeah. I really need to move that close. Maybe next weekend. Yeah, you don't dog ear pages because it just gives them more chances to be damaged. That is true, Mez, especially when you get the paperbacks that are the regular width, but they're the size of a hardcover. Like some of Stephen King's latest books or newer books came out that way, and I'm like, that's a really tall paperback. Yeah, receipts are good. I have so many bookmarks. I used to buy one every single time I went into a Kohl's or bookstore or wherever. But then books started getting expensive, so I stopped going to the bookstore. And I started using eBay and getting secondhand. Which isn't good because they're dog-eared and they're crack spines, which is bad. Very bad. From my infancy, I was noted for the docility and humanity of my disposition. My tenderness of heart was even so conspicuous as to make me the jest of my companions. I was especially fond of animals, and was indulged by my parents with a great variety of pets. With these, I spent most of my time, and never was so happy as when feeding and caressing them. This peculiarity of character grew with my growth, and in my manhood, I derived from it one of my principal sources of pleasure. To those who have cherished an affection for a faithful and sagacious dog, I need hardly be at the trouble of explaining the nature or the intensity of the gratification thus derivable. There is something in the unselfish and self-sacrificing love of a brute which goes directly to the heart of him who has had frequent occasion to test the paltry friendship and gossamer fidelity of mere man. Yeah, that's true for all dog owners and dog lovers. Same for cats. Only less of a intensity of gratification. Cats are like, yep, love me now. I'm done. I just noticed that No, okay. I thought maybe my event viewer on the side wasn't working right, but it was. I married early and was happy to find in my wife a disposition not uncongenial with my own. Observing my partiality for domestic pets, she lost no opportunity of procuring those of the most agreeable kind. We had birds, goldfish, a fine dog, rabbits, a small monkey, and a cat. This latter was a remarkably large and beautiful animal, entirely black and sagacious to an astonishing degree. In speaking of his intelligence, my wife, who at heart was not a little tinctured with superstition, made frequent allusion to the ancient popular notion, which regarded all black cats as witches in disguise. Not that she was ever serious upon this point, and I mention the matter at all for no better reason than that it happens just now to be remembered. Pluto, this was the cat's name, was my favorite pet and playmate. I alone fed him, and he attended me whenever I went about the house. It was even with difficulty that I could prevent him from following me through the streets. Our friendship lasted, in this manner, for several years, during which my general temperament and character, through the instrumentality of the fiend intemperance, had, I blush to confess it, experienced a radical alteration for the worse. I grew, day by day, more moody, more irritable, more regardless of the feelings of others. I suffered myself to use intemperate language to my wife. At length, I even offered her personal violence. My pets, of course, were made to feel the change in my disposition. I not only neglected, but ill-used them. For Pluto, however, I still retained sufficient regard to restrain me from maltreating him, as I made no scruple of maltreating the rabbits, the monkey, or even the dog, when, by accident, or through affection, they came in my way. But disease grew upon me, for what disease is like alcohol, and at length even Pluto, who was now becoming old and consequently somewhat peevish, even Pluto began to experience the effects of my ill temper. One night, returning home, much intoxicated, from one of my haunts about town, I fancied that the cat avoided my presence. I seized him, when, in his fright at my violence, he inflicted a slight wound upon my hand with his teeth. The fury of a demon instantly possessed me. I knew myself no longer. My original soul seemed at once to take its flight from my body. Yeah, this is near the end of Edgar Allan Poe's life. He was a drunkard. It's rumored he was found dead in a gutter after going on a drinking spree. This is one of his later ones. If I remember right, it was actually written after The Raven. And yeah. Oh yeah, me neither. I don't. And it's like, yeah. But it kind of goes in part and parcel with Edgar Allan Poe stuff, because it's all very... I think it's safe to say it's violent. It can get violent at times, like Pet and Pendulum, prime example. The Telltale Heart. Heart, prime example. I have no idea where I was because I moved my hand. Basically, the Telltale Heart is a story of him taking care of his father, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I read it. And getting tired of taking care of his dad, so he kills him in his sleep. And in his grief, could keep hearing the heart beating. And drove him mad. So, yeah. Edgar Allan Poe is a piece of work. But he is the granddaddy of horror writing. Mostly suspense. It's not even horror, it's just suspense. Ooh, maybe I'll do that next. Mez, my sister got me the entire collected works of H.P. Lovecraft. All in one big book. It's huge. It's like a 10-pound book, hardcover. So maybe I'll read that on stream. No, I don't want to put people to sleep. Except for maybe Stacy. She likes it when I read on Tuesdays because it puts... Oh, look at all the pictures. Ah ha ha ha. Sorry. I saw my name mentioned somewhere in Woo! I need to zoom in. I must zoom in into the picture. Yay, books. Chronicles of the Black Company, Myth of Sisyphus, The Stranger, Existentialism is a humanism. Robert Jordan's a good author. I think I have one of his books, actually. Dune, I have Dune. The Great Hunt. I may not have these books, but my sister might. Yeah, my entire bookshelf is need to read or reread. Usually I try to go through a series, like Anne Rice series, and then read the next thing, and yeah, I have too many books. I have the entire Vampire Chronicles. As far as I know, I have the entire Dark Tower series by Stephen King. Yeah, I need to borrow my, well, now it's my sister's collection, but I need to get the Odd Thomas series, because I know she's got it, because I got, when my mom passed, she willed to me her Stephen King and Anne Rice books, and my sister got all the rest. So we've both got a massive bookshelves full of books. Massive. And that's in addition to our own. I haven't read it yet, May. I have them, haven't read them yet. I'm a fan of the Stephen King anthologies, so. Yeah, Robert Jordan's a hell of a crawl. Yeah. I have too many books. I have too many books. And one of these days I will read them. But I like going back to the ones I like because I like them. Where am I? My original soul seemed at once to take its flight from my body, and a more than fiendish malevolence, gin-nurtured, thrilled every fibre of my frame. I took from my waistcoat pocket a penknife, opened it, grasped the poor beast by the throat, and deliberately cut out one of his eyes from the socket. I blush, I burn, I shudder while I pen the damnable atrocity. When reason returned with the morning, when I had slept off the fumes of the night's debauch, I experienced a sentiment half of horror, half of remorse, for the crime of which I had been guilty. But it was, at best, a feeble and equivocal feeling, and the soul remained untouched. I again plunged into excess and soon drowned in wine all memory of the deed. In the meantime, the cat slowly recovered. The socket of the lost eye presented, it is true, a frightful appearance, but he no longer appeared to suffer any pain. He went about the house as usual, but as might be expected, fled in extreme terror at my approach. I had so much of my old heart left as to be at first grieved by this evident dislike on the part of a creature which had once so loved me. But this feeling soon gave place to irritation, and then came, as if to my final and irrevocable overthrow, the spirit of perverseness. Of this spirit, philosophy takes no account. Yet I am not more sure that my soul lives than I am that perverseness is one of the primitive impulses of the human heart, one of the indivisible primary faculties, or sentiments, which give direction to the character of man. Who has not, 100 times, found himself committing a vile or silly action for no other reason than because he knows he should not? Have we not a perpetual inclination, in the teeth of our best judgment, to violate that which is law, merely because we understand it to be such? This spirit of perverseness, I say, came to my final overthrow. It was this unfathomable longing of the soul to vex itself, to offer violence to its own nature, to do wrong for the wrong's sake only, that urged me to continue and finally to consummate the injury I had inflicted upon the unoffending brute. One morning, in cold blood, I slipped a noose about its neck and hung it to the limb of a tree. Hung it with the tears streaming from my eyes and with the bitterest remorse at my heart. Hung it because I knew that it had loved me, and because I felt it had given me no reason of offense. Hung it because I knew that in so doing I was committing a sin, a deadly sin that would so jeopardize my immortal soul as to place it, if such a thing were possible, even beyond the reach of infinite mercy of the most merciful and most terrible God. On the night of the day on which this cruel deed was done, I was aroused from sleep by the cry of fire. The curtains of my bed were in flames. The whole house was blazing. It was with great difficulty that my wife, a servant, and myself made our escape from the conflagration. Yup. Welcome to the world of Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah. The destruction was complete. My entire worldly wealth was swallowed up, and I resigned myself thenceforward to despair. I am above the weakness of seeking to establish a sequence of cause and effect between the disaster and the atrocity, but I am detailing a chain of facts, and wish not to leave even a possible link imperfect. There we go. On the day succeeding the fire, I visited the ruins. The walls, with one exception, had fallen in. This exception was found in a compartment wall, not very thick, which stood about the middle of the house, and against which had rested the head of my bed. The plastering had here, in great measure, resisted the action of the fire, a fact which I attributed to its having been recently spread. About this wall, a dense crowd were collected, and many persons seemed to be examining a particular portion of it with very minute and eager attention. The words strange, singular, and other similar expressions excited my curiosity. I approached and saw, as if graven in bas relief upon the white surface, a figure of a gigantic cat. The impression was given with an accuracy truly marvelous. There was a rope about the animal's neck. When I first beheld this apparition, for I could scarcely regard it as less, my wonder and my terror were extreme. But at length reflection came to my aid. The cat, I remembered, had been hung in a garden adjacent to the house. Upon the alarm of fire, this garden had been immediately filled by the crowd, by someone of whom the animal must have been cut from the tree and thrown through an open window into my chamber. This had probably been done with the view of arousing me from sleep. The falling of other walls had compressed the victim of my cruelty into the substance of the freshly spread plaster, the lime of which, with the flames and the ammonia from the carcass, had then accomplished the portraiture as I saw it. Although I thus readily accounted to my reason, if not altogether to my conscience, for the startling fact just detailed, it did not the less fail to make a deep impression upon my fancy. For months I could not rid myself of the phantasm of the cat, and during this period there came back into my spirit a half sentiment that seemed, but was not, remorse. I went so far as to regret the loss of the animal and to look about me among the vile haunts which I now habitually frequented for another pet of the same species and of somewhat similar appearance, with which to supply its place. One night as I sat, half stupefied in a den of more than infamy, my attention was suddenly drawn to some black object, reposing upon the head of one of the immense hogsheads of gin, or of rum, which constituted the chief furniture of the apartment. I had been looking steadily at the top of this hogshead for some minutes, and what now caused me surprise was the fact that I had not sooner perceived the object thereupon. I approached it and touched it with my hand. It was a black cat, a very large one, fully as large as Pluto and closely resembling him in every respect but one. Pluto had not a white hair upon any portion of his body, but this cat had a large, although indefinite splotch of white, covering nearly the whole region of the breast. Upon my touching him, he immediately arose, purred loudly, rubbed against my hand, and appeared delighted with my notice. This, then, was the very creature of which I was in search. I at once offered to purchase it off the landlord, but this person made no claim to it, knew nothing of it, and had never seen it before. I continued my caresses, and when I prepared to go home, the animal evinced a disposition to accompany me. I permitted it to do so, occasionally stooping and patting it as I proceeded. When I reached the house, it domesticated itself at once, and became immediately a great favorite with my wife. For my own part, I soon found a dislike to it arising within me. This was just the reverse of what I had anticipated, but I know not how or why it was, its evident fondness for myself rather disgusted and annoyed. By slow degrees, these feelings of disgust and annoyance rose to the bitterness of hatred. What? We didn't say Lucy. I'm pretty sure I have it set to only say, "Hi, I'm Lucy," if I say, "Hi, I'm Lucy." Must check. Come now. You make no sense, Lucy. You make no sense. No sense. Silly kitten. Sorry, sending quick message on Discord. Ooh, who's new? Who be that? Oh, there's a Mez in my server now. Uh-oh, we gotta behave in the server now, Stacy. Not like we're chatty or anything, but we're gonna behave. Never mind, we don't. Mez is a troublemaker. Where was I? Hatred. I avoided the creature, a certain sense of shame, and the remembrance of my former deed of cruelty, preventing me from physically abusing it. I did not, for some weeks, strike or otherwise violently ill-use it, but Gradually, very gradually, I came to look upon it with unutterable loathing, and to flee silently from its odious presence as from the breath of a pestilence. What added, no doubt, to my hatred of the beast was the discovery, on the morning after I brought it home, that, like Pluto, it had also been deprived of one of its eyes. This circumstance, however, only endeared it to my wife, who, as I have already said, possessed in a high degree that humanity of feeling which had once been my distinguishing trait, and the source of many of my simplest and purest pleasures. It's been a while since I read it, but I think you're right, May. I think you're right. Maybe. Or he's haunted. Who knows? With my aversion to this cat, however, its partiality for myself seemed to increase. It followed my footsteps with a pertinacity which it would be difficult to make the reader comprehend. Nope, anyone who's ever had a cat understands that when the cat absolutely loves you, you trip over it. You trip over it because it is always underfoot. You are never left alone. My last cat was like that, and I absolutely loved him. He was a derpy cat. Whenever I sat, it would crouch beneath my chair or spring upon my knees, covering me with its loathsome caresses. If I arose to walk, it would get between my feet and thus nearly throw me down, or, fastening its long and sharp claws in my dress, clamber in this manner to my breast. At such times, although I longed to destroy it with a blow, I was yet withheld from so doing. Partly by a memory of my former crime, but chiefly, let me confess it at once, by absolute dread of the beast. Oh yeah, cats definitely know what they're doing. Cats are assholes. But we love them. Maybe too much. This dread was not exactly a dread of physical evil, and yet I should be at a loss how otherwise to define it. All cats are homicidal monsters, Miz. Come on. They all want to kill humans. We are their servants. I am almost ashamed to own, yes, even in this felon's cell, I am almost ashamed to own that the terror and horror in which the animal inspired me had been heightened by one of the merest chimeras it would be possible to conceive. Yeah, all cats are homicidal maniacs. We are their servants. My wife had called my attention more than once to the character of the mark of white hair, of which I have spoken, and which constituted the sole visible difference between the strange beast and the one I had destroyed. The reader will remember that this mark, although large, had been originally very indefinite, but by slow degrees nearly imperceptible, and which for a long time my reason struggled to reject as fanciful, it had at length assumed a rigorous distinctness of an outline. It was now the representation of an object that I shuddered to name, and for this, above all, I loathed and dreaded, and would have rid myself of the monster had I dared. It was now, I say, the image of a hideous, of a ghastly thing, of the gallows. O mournful and terrible engine of horror and of crime, of agony and of death. And now was I indeed wretched beyond the wretchedness of mere humanity, and a brute beast whose fellow I had contemptuously destroyed, a brute beast to work out for me, a man fashioned in the image of the high God, so much of insufferable woe. Alas, neither by day nor by night knew I the blessing of rest any more. During the former, the creature left me no moment alone, and in the latter, I started hourly from dreams of unutterable fear to find the hot breath of the thing upon my face, and its vast weight and incarnate nightmare that I had no power to shake off, incumbent internally upon my heart. Yeah, but PJ's just adorable. I keep struggling. Yeah, my sister's got a new kitten. Technically, she's not a kitten anymore, But her name is Codex, and she's a snuggler. She will trip everyone who goes to visit. Doesn't matter if you live there or not. She'll try to trip you just because she wants to love you. Beneath the pressure of torments such as these, the feeble remnant of the good within me succumbed. Evil thoughts became my sole intimates, the darkest and most evil of thoughts. The moodiness of my usual temper increased to hatred of all things and of all mankind. While, from the sudden, frequent, and ungovernable outbursts of a fury to which I now blindly abandoned myself, my uncomplaining wife, alas, was the most usual and most patient of sufferers. Yes, Codex is adorable. She's a cutie patootie. And she loves me, which is bonus for me. I go visit my sister and I have a cat to snuggle me the whole time. Instead of the 20-pound Xavier, who has lost weight since the last time we weighed, and the Izzy who hisses at me because he wants me to pet him. He's a weird cat. One day she accompanied me upon some household errand into the cellar of the old building which our poverty compelled us to inhabit. The cat followed me down the steep stairs and, nearly throwing me headlong, exasperated me to madness. Uplifting an axe and forgetting in my wrath the childish dread which had hitherto stayed my hand, I aimed a blow at the animal, which, of course, would have proved instantly fatal had it descended as I wished. But this blow was arrested by the hand of my wife. No, it's basically he's saying the cat tried to trip him down the stairs, and we were just talking about cats trying to trip us down the stairs. Goaded by the interference into a rage more than demoniac. Some of the words that Edgar uses, I don't know. Demoniacal, I'm going with that. I withdrew my arm from her grasp and buried the axe in her brain. This is his wife. She fell dead upon the spot without a groan. This hideous murder accomplished, I set myself forthwith, and with entire deliberation, to the task of concealing the body. I knew that I could not remove it from the house, either by day or by night, without the risk of being observed by the neighbors. Many projects entered my mind. At one period, I thought of cutting the corpse into minute fragments and destroying them by fire. At another, I resolved to dig a grave for it in the floor of the cellar. Again, I deliberated about casting it in the well in the yard, about packing it in a box as if merchandise with the usual arrangements, and so getting a porter to take it from the house. Finally, I hit upon what I considered a far better expedient than either of these. I determined to wall it up in the cellar, as the monks of the Middle Ages are recorded to have walled up their victims. Yeah, because he was in a fit of rage. Yay! Or found dead in the gutter drunk. Well, he was still a literary mastermind, so yeah. For a purpose such as this, the cellar was well adapted. Its walls were loosely constructed and had lately been plastered throughout with a rough plaster, which the dampness of the atmosphere had prevented from hardening. Moreover, in one of the walls was a projection caused by a false chimney or fireplace that had been filled up and made to resemble the rest of the cellar. I made no doubt that I could readily displace the bricks at this point, insert the corpse, and wall the whole up as before, so that no eye could detect anything suspicious. Silly Edgar, he doesn't know that bodies smell when they rot. Oh well. And in this calculation I was not deceived. Exactly, Nez. That's right, you're writing a novel? I don't know, I kind of joined that server in the middle of the book discussion. You're writing a thing. That's okay. I don't want to go to Mexico. I want to go to Cancun, Cuba, Florida. Nah, not Florida. It's too damp. California. There we go. Nice and warm all year round. And in this calculation I was not deceived. By means of a crowbar I easily dislodged the bricks, and having carefully deposited the body against the inner wall, I propped it in that position, while with little trouble I relaid the whole structure as it originally stood. Short stories. So many emails. I bet, Mez. I bet. Did I read right that, or do I remember right that you... Where the... There. I think I read right that you did 5,000 words today. Is that right? I'm scrolling back now. 6,000. Maybe not today. Blech. Yeah. All the more to you, man. I couldn't do that. I don't have the patience for it. I do not have the patience for it. All the more to ya. Sorry, checking a couple of things. Okay. Having procured mortar, sand, and hair with every possible precaution, I prepared a plaster which could not be distinguished from the old, and with this I very carefully went over the new brickwork. Again, all the more to you. I'm a good proofreader. That's about all I'm good. Yeah, writing's definitely fluid, especially if you do kind of stream of consciousness thing and just type whatever pops into your head. That's how I blog when I blog. None of it's organized, it's just typing. Getting what's in my head out of my head. Kind of like the way I stream. Maybe. When I had finished, I felt satisfied that all was right. The wall did not present the slightest appearance of having been disturbed. Hey, lazy's good too, as long as you get it done. But I suppose if you're adding that many words during your editing... The wall did not present the slightest appearance of having been disturbed. The rubbish on the floor was picked up with the minutest care. I looked around triumphantly and said to myself, here at least, then, my labor has not been in vain. I love flow of consciousness typing, writing, any of it. I love it. It's just free therapy. Get it all out. My next step was to look for the beast which had been the cause of so much wretchedness, for I had at length firmly resolved to put it to death. Had I been able to meet with it at the moment, there could have been no doubt of its fate, but it appeared that the crafty animal had been alarmed at the violence of my previous anger, and forbore to present itself in my present mood. It is impossible to describe or to imagine the blissful sense of relief which the absence of the detested creature occasioned in my bosom. It did not make its appearance during the night, and thus, for one night at least, since its introduction into the house, I soundly and tranquilly slept. I slept, even with the burden of murder upon my soul. The second and the third day passed, and still my tormentor came not. Once again I breathed as a free man. The monster, in terror, had fled the premises forever. I should behold it no more. My happiness was supreme. The guilt of my dark deed disturbed me but little. Some few inquiries had been made, but these had been readily answered. Even a search had been instituted, but of course nothing was to be discovered. I looked upon my future felicity as secured. Upon the fourth day of the assassination, a party of the police came, very unexpectedly, into the house and proceeded again to make rigorous investigation of the premises. Dry throat. Yes, I'm tipping the bottle to pour it into my mouth because I was going with the theme. Dark bottle to go with dark story instead of my neon pink bottle I usually use. Secure, however, in the inscrutability of my place of concealment, I felt no embarrassment whatsoever. Or whatever. The officers bade me accompany them in their search. They left no nook or corner unexplored. At length, for the third or fourth time, they descended into the cellar. I quivered not in a muscle. My heart beat calmly as that of one who slumbers in innocence. I walked the cellar from end to end. I folded my arms upon my bosom and roamed easily to and fro. The police were thoroughly satisfied and prepared to depart. The glee at my heart was too strong to be restrained. I burned to say, if but one word, by way of triumph, and to render doubly sure their assurance of my guiltlessness. "Gentlemen," I said at last, as the party ascended the steps, "I delight to have allayed your suspicions. I wish you all health and a little more courtesy. By the by, gentlemen, this is a very well-constructed house." In the rabid desire to say something easily, I scarcely knew what I uttered at all. "I may say an excellently well-constructed house. These walls, are you going, gentlemen? These walls are solidly put together." And here, through the mere frenzy of bravado, I rapped heavily, with the cane which I held in my hand, upon that very portion of the brickwork behind which stood the corpse of my wife of my bosom. But may God shield and deliver me from the fangs of the arch-fiend. No sooner had the reverberation of my blows sunk into silence than I was answered by a voice from within the tomb. By a cry, at first muffled and broken like the sobbing of a child, and then quickly swelling into one long, loud, and continuous scream. Utterly anomalous and inhuman, a howl, a wailing shriek, half of horror and half of triumph, such as might have arisen only out of hell, conjointly from the throats of the damned in their agony and of the demons that exult in the damnation. Of my own thoughts it is folly to speak. Swooning, I staggered to the opposite wall. For one instant the party upon the stairs remained motionless, through extremity of terror and of awe. In the next, a dozen stout arms were toiling at the wall. It fell bodily. The corpse, already greatly decayed and clotted with gore, stood erect before the eyes of the spectators. Upon its head, with red extended mouth and solitary eye of fire, sat the hideous beast whose craft had seduced me into murder, and whose informing voice had consigned me to the hangman. I had walled the monster up within the tomb. Yep. So it's like, what, the fifth day that they're doing this? Fourth day. So 4 days after, Cat's still alive. The cat ate the dead meat. Sorry, I went supersonic there. But yeah, that's the black cat. That is one of my favorites. It's the first story of Edgar Allan Poe's that I read from beginning to end. Probably when I was 10 or 11. I was really young. It was around the same time I got into Stephen King and Anne Rice and watched Jeepers Creepers that was on TV at Halloween, which I later learned was R-rated. My mom let me watch it. Telltale Heart is nice and short. It's after premature burial. Oh, I don't know. Cask of Amontillado is long. Or am I full of it? Yeah, it's long. That's all the Cask of Amontillado. From 251 to 258. Maybe not as long as I thought. Not as long as the Black Cat. Black Cat might be longer. Ah, well, we'll do the Telltale Heart. And what time are we? Jeez, it's only been an hour? The hell? I'm a fast reader, apparently. I suppose I am a fast reader. I could probably, if I had the time, just sit here and read this whole thing in an afternoon. Ouch. Owie. Up time. Yep, an hour. Lucy's got it right. Yeah, I put a bunch of new commands in for Lucy today. 'Cause it was a slow day. Oh, excuse me. Already has a message. Hang on a second. Da 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 da. Yeah, there's a lot of stories I hadn't ever heard of. Oh, I didn't flag that one. The Mask of the Red Death. That was a good one too. Short. All of his stories were short stories anyways. None of them were novels. Okay, so The Telltale Heart, another very well-known and plotline copied story. Because a lot of it's like movie tropes, suspense thriller movie tropes that you see all over the place, which is kind of funny. The Telltale Heart. True, nervous, very, very dreadfully nervous I had been and am, but why will you say that I am mad? The disease had sharpened my senses, not destroyed, not dulled them. Above all was the sense of hearing acute. I heard all things in the heaven and in the earth. I heard many things in hell. How then am I mad? Hearken and observe how healthily, how calmly I can tell you the whole story. It is impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. Object there was none. Passion there was none. I loved the old man. He had never wronged me. He had never given me insult. For his gold I had no desire. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this. One of his eyes resembled that of a vulture, a pale blue eye with a film over it. Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold, and so by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man, and thus rid myself of the eye forever. Prime example of Edgar Allan Poe. There's something about that I don't like. I'm going to kill it. Yep. Now, this is the point. You fancy me mad. Madmen know nothing, but you should have seen me. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded, with what caution, with what foresight, with what dissimulation I went to work. I was never kinder to the old man than during the whole week before I killed him, and every night, about midnight, I turned the latch of his door and opened it, oh so gently, and then, when I had made an opening sufficient for my head, I put in a dark lantern, all closed, so that no light shone out, and then I thrust in my head. Oh, you would have laughed to see how cunningly I thrust it in. I moved it slowly, very, very slowly, so that I might not disturb the old man's sleep. It took me an hour to place my whole head within the opening so far that I could see him as he lay upon his bed. Exactly, May. A madman does not think himself mad. He is only told he is mad. How would a madman have been so wise as this? And then, when my head was well in the room, I undid the lantern cautiously. Oh, so cautiously, for the hinges creaked. I undid it just so much that a single thin ray fell upon the vulture eye. And this I did for 7 long nights. Every night, just at midnight. But I found the eye always closed, and so it was impossible to do the work, for it was not the old man who vexed me, but his evil eye. And every morning when the day broke, I went boldly into the chamber and spoke courageously to him, calling him by name in a hearty tone and inquiring how he had passed the night. So, you see, he would have been a very profound old man, indeed, to suspect that every night, just at 12, I looked in upon him while he slept. Upon the 8th night, I was more than usually cautious in opening the door. A watch's minute hand moves more quickly than did mine. Never before that night had I felt the extent of my own powers, of my sagacity. I could scarcely contain my feelings of triumph. To think that there I was, opening the door little by little, and he did not even to dream of my secret deeds or thoughts. I fairly chuckled at the idea, and perhaps he heard me, for he moved on the bed suddenly, as if startled. Now, you may think that I drew back, but no. His room was as black as pitch with the thick darkness, for the shutters were close fastened through fear of robbers, and so I knew that he could not see the opening of the door, and I kept pushing it on steadily. I had my head in and was about to open the lantern when my thumb slipped upon the tin fastening, and the old man sprang up in the bed, crying out, "Who's there?" I kept quite still and said nothing. For a whole hour I did not move a muscle, and in the meantime I did not hear him lie down. He was still sitting up in the bed, listening, just as I have done night after night, hearkening to the death watches on the wall. Presently I heard a slight groan, and I knew it was the groan of mortal terror. It was not a groan of pain or grief. Oh no, it was the slow, stifled sound that arises from the bottom of the soul when overcharged with awe. I knew the sound well. Many a night, just at midnight, when all the world slept, it has welled up from my own bosom, deepening with its dreadful echo the terrors that distracted me. I say I knew it well. I knew what the old man felt, and pitied him, although I chuckled at heart. I knew that he had been lying awake ever since the first slight noise, and when he had turned in the bed. His fears had been ever since growing upon him. He had been trying to fancy them causeless, but could not. He had been saying to himself, "It's nothing but the wind in the chimney. It's only a mouse crossing the floor." Or, "It's merely a cricket which has made a single chirp." Yes, he has been trying to comfort himself with these suppositions, but he had found all in vain. All in vain, because death, in approaching him, had stalked with his black shadow before him and enveloped the victim. And it was the mournful influence of the unperceived shadow that caused him to feel, although he neither saw nor heard, to feel the presence of my head within the room. When I had waited a long time, very patiently, without hearing him lie down, I resolved to open a very, very little crevice in the lantern. So I opened it. You cannot imagine how stealthily, until at length a single dim ray, like the thread of the spider, shot from out the crevice and fell upon the vulture eye. It was open. Wide open, and I grew furious as I gazed upon it. I saw it with perfect distinctness, all a dull blue, with a hideous veil over it that chilled the very marrow in my bones. But I could see nothing else of the old man's face or person, for I had directed the rays, if by instinct, precisely upon the damned spot. And now have I not told you that what you mistake for madness is but over-acuteness of the senses? Now, I say, there came to my ears a low, dull, quick sound, such as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I knew that sound well, too. It was the beating of the old man's heart. It increased my fury as the beating of a drum stimulates a soldier into courage. But even yet I refrained and kept still. I scarcely breathed. I held the lantern motionless. I tried how steadily I could maintain the ray upon the eye. Meantime, the hellish tattoo of the heart increased. It grew quicker and quicker and louder every instant. The old man's terror must have been extreme. It grew louder, I say louder every moment. Do you mark me well? I have told you that I am nervous, so I am. And now, at the dead hour of the night, amid the dreadful silence of that old house, so strange a noise as this excited me to uncontrollable terror. Yet, for some minutes longer, I refrained and stood still. But the beating grew louder, louder. I thought the heart must burst. And now a new anxiety seized me. The sound would be heard by a neighbor. The old man's hour had come. With a loud yell, I threw open the lantern and leapt into the room. He shrieked once only. In an instant, I dragged him to the floor and pulled the heavy bed over him. I then smiled gaily to find the deed so far done. But for many minutes, the heart beat on with a muffled sound. This, however, did not vex me. It would not be heard through the wall. At length it ceased. The old man was dead. I removed the bed and examined the corpse. Yes, he was stone dead. I placed my hand upon the heart and held it there many minutes. There was no pulsation. He was stone dead. His eye would trouble me no more. Oh, excuse me. If you still think me mad, you will think so no longer when I describe the wise precautions I took for the concealment of the body. The night waned and I worked hastily, but in silence. First of all, I dismembered the corpse. I cut off the head and the arms and the legs. I then took up 3 planks from the flooring of the chamber and deposited all between the scantlings. I then replaced the board so cleverly, so cunningly, that no human eye, not even his, would have detected anything wrong. There was nothing to wash out, no stain of any kind, no blood spot whatever. I had been too wary for that. A tub had caught it all. Ha ha! When I made an end of these labors, it was 4 o'clock, still dark as midnight. Yeah. Welcome to the stream, Twitch TV, Mitchell. We are currently reading The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. Yes. Edgar Allan Poe is the craziest motherfucker ever. But his stories are damn good. Like, he's not even really describing the surroundings. It's just, yeah. Well, and it's a collection of his work, which is awesome. Mad as in crazy. Mad as in the late 1800s, early 1900s definition of mad. Oh. As the bell sounded the hour, there came a knocking at the street door. I went down to open it with a light heart, for what had I now to fear? There entered 3 men who introduced themselves with perfect suavity as officers of the police. A shriek had been heard by a neighbor during the night. Suspicion of foul play had been aroused. Information had been lodged at the police office, and they, the officers, had been deputed to search the premises. I smiled, for what had I to fear? I bade the gentleman welcome. The shriek, I said, was my own in a dream. The old man I mentioned was absent in the country. I took my visitors all over the house, bade them search well. I led them at length to his chamber. I showed them his treasures, secure, undisturbed. In the enthusiasm of my confidence, I brought chairs into the room and desired them here to rest from their fatigues, while I myself, in the wild audacity of my perfect triumph, placed my own seat upon the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse of the victim. Twitch TV Mitchell, it's Edgar Allan Poe. The current story, because he didn't write books, he wrote short stories, and this is a collection. This one's called The Telltale Heart, and we're almost done, actually. It's a very short story. It's only a few pages. The officers were satisfied. My manner had convinced them. I was singularly at ease. They sat, and while I answered cheerily, they chatted of familiar things. But ere long, I felt myself getting pale and wished them gone. My head ached, and I fancied a ringing in my ears. But still they sat and still chatted. The ringing became more distinct. It continued and became more distinct. I talked more freely to get rid of the feeling, but it continued and gained definitiveness until, at length, I found that the noise was not within my ears. Oh, thanks for the follow, Mitchell. That's awesome. And yes, I like reading. I try to do a reading with Silver every Tuesday. That may change in the future because schedules are a thing. I have to stream around my schedule and not vice versa. So that should be interesting. Previously I was doing visual novels, so you wouldn't just see me reading a book, you would actually see the game on the screen. But I figured something different this week. And I think I may make a bigger habit of it, because you don't see streamers reading. Like, they'll read stuff that's in their games, but you don't really see them reading. And I want to change that. My Steam just made my stream screen freak out. No doubt I now grew very pale, but I talked more fluently and with a heightened voice. Thanks, Mitchell. That's awesome. Yet the sound increased, and what could I do? It was a low, dull, quick sound, much such a sound as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I gasped for breath, and yet the officers heard it not. I talked more quickly, more vehemently, but the noise steadily increased. I arose and argued about trifles in a high key and with violent gesticulations, but the noise steadily increased. Why would they not be gone? I paced the floor to and fro with heavy strides, as if excited to fury by the observations of the men, but the noise steadily increased. Oh God, what could I do? I foamed, I raved, I swore. I swung the chair upon which I had been sitting and grated it upon the boards, but the noise arose over all and continuously increased. It grew louder, 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 and still the men chatted pleasantly and smiled. Was it possible they heard not? Almighty God, no, they heard, they suspected, they knew. They were making a mockery of my horror. This I thought, and this I think. But anything was better than this agony. Anything was more tolerable than this derision. I could bear those hypocritical smiles no longer. I felt that I must scream or die. And now, again, hark, louder, louder, louder. Villains, I shrieked. Dissemble no more. I admit the deed. Tear up the planks. Here, it's the beating of his hideous heart. My next scheduled stream, Mitchell, is Saturday evening, probably around 11 your time? Yeah, if it's almost 4 there, so about 11 your time, 7 my time. I tend to stream a bit earlier on the weekends just because it's a bit easier. Actually, let me double check my schedule. Hang on. It's inaccurate. Notepad. Cute butt cycle. It evens out. This Saturday is the 2nd. Actually, it'll be probably 9 my time, so 1 o'clock. 1 a.m. your time? 1 a.m. GMT? And that was the Telltale Heart, actually. That was well done. I will have it posted on Twitter. I also have, I don't know if you're on desktop or not, I have it in a panel off to down below my stream. So, it is there. But yeah, I usually tweet about it the morning before I stream. So, have yourself a good night, Mitchell. Sleep well. Thanks for stopping by. Yay! Hasn't even been... It's been an hour and a half and I've gotten through The Black Cat, Telltale Heart. I don't want to go through the whole book tonight. Let's see if I can find a visual novel here. I was not expecting to get through that quickly. I did fairly well last week. I can't remember what this one's about. Might be 3 stories. Oh, that one would actually be... Yeah, good stories do go really fast. But I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't expecting to go through it so quickly. I know they're short stories, but I thought I was slower at reading, especially out loud. Okay. I just want to see a review that says how long this takes. A couple hours. Yeah, that should do us. So in a second here, switchy switch. I'm gonna put you over here actually. Game capture properties. I want you, the one that's in front. I'll keep it kind of small only because the chat windows chat is in the corner there. Okay, we'll put this off to the side. Downside to wearing chokers is it chokes you slowly. And if anyone's curious, my cloth that I used is just a black pillowcase. Cheap and easy, because I already have them. Alright, now this, I'm like, this isn't giving me sound. What? Do I have it muted? No. I just have my sound really quiet. Or maybe it just doesn't have sound. Okay. Double width handkerchiefs, yeah. Oh, it does have music. Okay. It does have music, and that's all that matters. There. Okay. So this one's called Perceptions of the Dead, Volume 1. It's 3 different stories, and I was drawn in, A, because it's Perceptions of the Dead, and B, because of the animation style, because I like really good animations. And I think it's 3 different artists. So, let's see. Live with Jill Count and the Pun Show. Jill has had a moderate success as a streamer. And to mix things up this Halloween, she's going to live stream a visit to a haunted hospital. The twist? It's actually haunted. Dun dun dun! Okay. Oh, it's live with Jill Count.
Hey, lads and ladies, it's me, Jill Count, here with you live on my way to the location of my Halloween special. That's right. As part of my agreement with my beloved followers, I'm doing a live Halloween streaming special in the most haunted place in my state.
Well done, Jill. I could totally read this, but I'm not complaining. A visual novel where I don't have to talk out loud? Hell yeah!
Yeah, I couldn't really afford to travel all the way to Amityville or Nolans or something. But I was lucky enough to find the most haunted building in my humble little state.
Yay!
Those among you who probably know way too much about me have probably already Googled and found out exactly where I'm going.
Yes, I have, May. I love Vampire the Masquerade. I have Bloodlines on my computer, actually. I need to reacquire the first one. But I didn't really like the first one as much as Bloodlines. I think there might even be one that came out after Bloodlines, but I'm not. Yeah, the first one is super hard. That's I want it just for the nostalgia, not so much to play it through, because, yeah. And I've all but beat Bloodlines. I didn't level up my character correctly, or I totally would have beat it. So she says, those among you will probably know way too much about me, have probably already Googled and found out exactly where I'm going. Yeah, I don't even know if I made it to Sunlight Stage. I don't even think I got that far in the first one.
You are correct, ex-Rockcots. I'm on my way to St. Hard Hospital.
Yay!
This place was shut down in like the 60s after a freak strain of the flu or something killed almost every patient and doctor in the building over the course of a single week.
You are way too happy about that, Jill.
Then there have been thousands of sightings of spoops spilling many a pants with poops.
And Sham's not here to hear somebody other than me call it spoops. Yes, Bloodlines does have a super creepy hospital site, and I think I've been into that hospital many, many times because I played through the beginning so many times. I keep rolling a new character. But, yeah, and then meeting up with the spider vampire. Spoilers! Yeah, the game's 15 years old. There's no spoilers anymore.
What better place to spend Halloween than in a building with more ghosts than I have subs?
Nagaraga. Nagaraga. That one's not covered in Bloodlines. In the second game. I might have to look into that. I didn't really get into the actual storyline. Or is it Spider Lady? I know there's a couple of patches you can get to add in missing bloodlines. Yeah. Yeah, Spider Lady.
Oops, never mind. Looks like I just pulled ahead on that race. The Jill count is going up. Welcome, new followers. Frogmorph and, Cat Kicker 99.
Oh, cool.
Really?
I'll have to check that out, man. Next time I play
I'm
it.
gonna go ahead and assume that you're a kicker who is also a cat and not a kicker of cats.
Sounds like me.
Pancakes and hash browns.
Thank you. Grabbing myself a bite to eat before I head out. Can't do any proper ghost hunting on an empty stomach. Oh my god, yes.
Nomming noise as she takes an exaggerated bite.
Is she talking to herself?
Pretty sure it's some sort of self-recording device.
You want some more coffee?
Oh, yes, please. I'm going to need it tonight.
Cool, I'll have to check that out. I will have to check that out.
Going to a Halloween party?
Sure am. A party of one.
Party of one.
Well, you keep safe. And if you need more coffee, just come back here. We're open all night.
Yay, 24-hour coffee shop.
On Halloween?
Damn right.
Sure, we get more traffic in here on Halloween than any other night. It's probably because there are like 17 million haunted houses around here.
Oh, I only knew about the hospital.
The waiter stopped.
That's not where you're going, is it?
Yay, coffee.
No. No. I was actually going to meet my friends for another party.
Oh, good. That building may be haunted, but it's dangerous.
Oh no.
If you want to try to scare yourself silly, go to the Peatley Farm or the Wenditch Chapel.
Yeah, okay.
Stay away from St. Hard Hospital.
Nope.
Oh, yeah. Totally. Sure.
The waiter nodded as Jill paid.
Oh, man, guys. I am more excited than ever!
You are crazy.
Okay, gotta drive, and I don't stream and drive. TTYL.
Sorry. Eye rolling is... Yeah. And she's live again.
Okay, lads and ladies. I'm not actually there yet, but you have got to get a look at this. Tell me that is not the scariest building any of you have ever seen.
Nope.
Okay, buck 3 to... Oh, bucket juggler. Okay, I wouldn't doubt you, but I think you might want to look into a different dentist.
I can just imagine what he put. That looks like my dentist's office.
Okay, driving more. Burb.
Burb? What? Ugh. Why? Why do they do that? Are they trying to sound hip and cool?
We're here and we're ready to roll. You all missed out on a little bit of sneaking in.
Which is probably good, because that would get you arrested. Burb. Be right back. BRB. Yeah, I know. I don't know why they're exaggerating this. Probably for the sake of exaggerating it.
Okay, so the door wasn't actually locked at all, and it's not like there was anyone watching, but I didn't really want to risk someone shooing me off.
Yeah.
The night's just started, and I haven't even had my first
Hi,
night.
Bo!
Check this place out! It's spooky as fudge!
I think we are, May. I think we are.
Because fudge is one of those things you can just eat and eat, and before you realize it, you've eaten 8,000 calories.
And one piece of fudge. One piece. Especially home.
Terrifying.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so let's make this a choose my adventure game.
No.
Like a choose your own adventure game, but instead of your adventure, you get to choose mine.
Sorry, my eyes are rolling so hard I'm
Someone
getting a
ban
headache.
Buttmuncher 67 because take off all of your clothes is not one of the options. The actual choices are...
And pop up to selection screen.
We've got the burn ward! Then we have the children's ward! Not my favorite pick.
Yeah.
And the etymology clinic. Wait, no, I'm not reading that right. The letter's all messed up. No idea what it's actually supposed to be. So, it's up to you, beloved viewers. What's the consensus?
Oh,
Where
so
should we
we're the
explore
viewer.
first?
She's me, and I'm you guys. The E word. Let's make her try to pronounce it. Why does she stop her stream just to go to the new ward? Like, really?
Alright, here we are, lads and ladies.
Ectoplasmology.
Ectoplasmology clinic.
So, X-ray ward.
Yes, I know that's neither a real word nor the name of the place.
Uh.
But I can't help but call it something silly when everywhere you look the name reads like this. Do you think maybe I'm looking at this wrong and it's supposed to be E-clinic? Like, maybe they service robots here? This place seems in really good shape, other than the defacing of all the signs. If I didn't know any better, I'd almost think this part of the hospital
You
was still active.
Hi!
Boo!
Ah!
I'm sorry. I didn't expect to find anyone else here. And when I saw you, I just couldn't help myself.
You've got a southern drawl.
You're telling me! I mean, about the finding anyone else here.
Once again,
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. Wasn't exactly a kind thing to do. I'm Andy. You okay?
Yeah. What are you doing in a haunted hospital, Mr. Andy?
I do like his accent. I'll give him that much.
Same as you, I expect. Hoping to bump into a ghost. Get a good Friday in it, too.
Definitely, it's a forced accent.
Ain't seen much so far. Just the general spookiness when a place falls into disrepair, you know?
Sorry, the ya know is a very, very overused visual novel trope. It's annoying. So annoying. Everything, it's like, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Same here. Still, what the heck is wrong with you scaring me like that?
I was under the impression that you came here specifically to be scared.
Yeah?
Perhaps you're just upset that I'm not a ghost.
Yeah. The Yanos are...
No.
Yes.
Maybe you're scared because a man over 3 times your size has you alone in an abandoned building miles away from anything resembling civilization.
No.
Gulp.
Gulp? What?
Did you just say gulp instead of gulping?
Yep. She did.
Damn, girl, you're like a goddamn cartoon character.
I'll go with Goram. I'm okay with the Goram. Yes, he totally needs to play this card, I think.
Look, I'm not gonna do anything to you. I'm more here to get scared than do any scaring of my own.
I'm okay with the
Know
Goram.
anywhere scarier in the building?
Yes. Yes. May, when I didn't have any internet over the weekend, I watched half of the entire season of Firefly in one sitting. So that's 13 episodes. 13 hours of Firefly. So I am totally on a Firefly kick right now, and I'm not complaining.
Scarier than a room with me.
He's a rapist. Run away!
You do realize I have 30,000 followers watching me right now.
30,000? Okay. She must have that many followers because she shows her tits. No, that's mean.
30,000? Really?
There are lots of legitimate female bloggers, female streamers that don't show their boobs. My phone is blinking at me. Why does it go? Come on. I didn't even hear it.
No, but I think I'm at a few hundred, which is pretty good for me.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Yeah. Considering she's got rainbow hair and he's wearing a hooded cloak. And she's skinny as fuck. Not dissing skinny girls, but most of the skinny girls I've met are pretty weak and cannot defend themselves.
Probably should do the whole live streaming thing more often.
Why life? It's live. Yeah, she's very breakable. I could break her. Heck, May, you could probably break her. Just saying.
Here's to you.
I know you're strong.
Please excuse my poor taste in humor. I'm just here to have fun.
Yeah. I just noticed that the background is staying pretty much stationary when I'm moving the camera around.
Well, thank you, Andy. But back to my earlier question.
The basement would have to be
Oh.
the scariest place in the building.
Basement's always the scariest place.
That said, I doubt you'll be able to go down there. At least not this year.
Hmm?
You'll see what I'm talking about if you try to go down there.
What do you mean?
It's flooded. I already tried it myself.
Have you been down there before?
No, I heard about this place from a friend.
Yeah.
It really is haunted here, you know?
Sorry.
Oh, really? And would you be so kind, dear Andy, to tell us exactly how you know this?
And why are you flirting with the guy who nearly made you jump out of your skin? What do you mean, why am I looking so dark, Sham? Do you mean the makeup? Because I put makeup on. Makeup, clothes, and stuffs? Because it was Edgar Allan Poe reading night. And then I read like 10 stories. Not 10, but like far too many in an hour and a half that I'm like, I want to do something else now. It's definitely in chapter 2 of the game, though, right? Because you do the Santa Monica Pier and then you go into downtown. I think. See, I don't find the Yeah, I think I've done it a few times. It's with the spider vampire, and she needs you to find all the people. Well, it's getting to her, and then find the person to send back to her. There are a few jump scares in that hospital.
You don't need to know how I know.
'Cause he's a ghost!
Anyway, you have fun. I'm gonna keep doing some ghost hunting of my own.
People hunting. Because
Thanks,
he's a ghost.
Andy. I'll see you
Calling it
around.
now. He's a ghost. Who the what? I have a Facebook. I know you see it already, Stacy, but I sent it via Facebook too. And thank you. Okay, yeah. And I think it drops your humanity down by a point too when you send them, because you can totally save them, but you don't.
Where to next?
The basement. Children's word.
Buttermilk biscuits. Fine. It looks like we're gonna be going to the children's ward.
I love how one vote and that's where she
Okay,
goes.
I said I wanted to be scared, but I can't handle spooky kids.
Yeah, with him I think you can't because you keep up the masquerade, but you lose a point in humanity because you're sending a innocent person to be eaten by a vampire.
I already don't do great with kids, but to even think of the kind of creepy horror babies you see in movies.
Aw, Jill, you're such a pansy.
Ugh.
Shuddering noise. What? I don't understand.
Okay, fine. Let's do it.
She's a wuss. See, that's how it should be.
Look at this creep hole.
Yeah, that is true. And him getting killed off helps maintain the masquerade, which is nice. Considering we did find a photo that he took of Nosferatu.
No, please. This place is Nightmare Central. Seriously, if I saw this guy here wishing me to get better, I'd assume he really meant the opposite. Seriously, look at that face.
I think it's cute. I'm weird.
I think running into him would be 100 times worse than running into a little kid ghost.
Well, yeah, it's a giant needle with red liquid in it. I'd be scared too, but not if he's on a piece of paper on the wall. She's a little
into my soul.
whiny bitch. Yes, because he's got beady little eyes.
What are you doing here? Oh, you here for the party?
Yeah, of course.
Who? What?
Are you like here for the Halloween party? I'm not done setting up yet.
Party for one. Nope.
You're having a Halloween party here?
Yeah.
I have a Halloween party here every year, bruh.
I'm gonna play it and I'm gonna play it through so I don't have to do it again in the future.
You're having a Halloween party?
Yeah, he just said that.
Cha, with cookies and cupcakes and soda pop?
Chaw.
This place suddenly became a lot less scarier.
Who are you talking to?
The people watching my stream?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but I gotta go.
His
finish my
accent
shit,
keeps
dude.
changing. Keeps going from preppy pop color to California surfer dude. Like from bro to dude.
You can totally come. It'll start as soon as the others arrive.
Oh, do you know anywhere scary in the hospital?
Scary. No, not really, bro.
Have you not looked around you? You don't consider anything about this scary?
Oh, you mean haunted. You're wanting to see a ghost. Ghosts don't scare me, bro.
Sure. Thanks.
If you want that, find the basement. That morgue, that place is haunted as hell.
Yeah.
But it is like not
Okay.
safe. I suggest finding your fun at my party instead.
Hey, Rose! Thank you for the bits! How are you tonight?
There are cookies and cupcakes, and I got a 24-pack of Surge, bro.
Thank you, Rose.
Fine.
Sorry,
I'll think about it.
my makeup's taking a backseat to these eyes rolling into the back of my head because this is just I can't even.
What is
But I'm
your
good,
name,
thanks.
by the way?
What's your name, dude? Oh, I know. And the fact that it's like bro, like pop color bro to bruh. Oh no! Oh no, poor May!
Oh, it's Owen. Look, have a spooky Halloween, bro, and be careful if you decide to go to the basement.
Are we done talking to you?
Okay, that guy was a little creepy, but definitely not scary.
Not creepy, just dumb.
And he definitely killed the mood. But on the upside, I know about the basement now. Just need to figure out how to get there.
You've been told by 2 people to go to the basement, and by one of them that it was flooded.
Before we do that, let's take
Jill's
a look at
an
the other
idiot.
halls and see if we can find anything
That's
else
how
interesting.
Jill is an idiot. That is how she can just do that. Where to next? The last word that we can go to.
Burn wards. I'm scared of burn wards in a much more real way than I am scared of ghosts or goblins. You see, when I was a little girl, I had a cousin and we were really close. Like, when I was 5, I thought she was my sister and my cousin because I had friends with sisters and they were as close as me and my cousin. It was something my parents were quick to correct me on. Anyway, one day when I was at school and she was at hers, there was apparently some sort of accident. Long story made short, as it has made me uncomfortable to talk about, she ended up in a burn ward, and she didn't make it. Though, as messed up as she was, I will always wonder if she would have wanted to. It's immediately what I thought of when I saw the sign. To be honest, I wouldn't mind a good old-fashioned screaming ghost child to distract me from the thought.
Yep.
What was that? Whoa, this place is really falling apart. With an open wall like that, you'd think the damage would be way worse.
Yeah.
That being said, it's a nice view. Yeah! What was that? There!
Bounce, 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 bounce. And stream ends because she breaks her phone.
Okay, we're back, and it looks like the camera survived just fine.
Ooh!
We're here with Raven, who is apparently of a similar mindset as me this happy Hallows Eve.
Raven. She's a ghost. Owen was a ghost. Alex was probably a ghost.
No, I'm not.
Well, similar enough that you're here in this haunted hospital on All Hallows Eve.
What?
Eve.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, Raven, have you seen any ghosts yet this evening?
No.
Have you seen anything spooky?
No.
Would you consider elaborating on your answers?
No.
I'm Raven.
Do you want me to leave you alone?
Yes.
Oh, wait. Dang it.
I'm totally Raven, and I am totally her, because, yeah, I'm doing my thing, you're interrupting me, I'm like, fuck off. Go away.
Fine, we will leave you alone with your mysteries.
Because I'm a ghost! I'm a ghost!
So, I think I just stumbled across a squatter.
Yeah, no.
Though, given how badly this place is falling apart, I can't help but wonder why anyone would want to squat here.
I'm like, why is this so loose? Because it came off. That's better. Not loose anymore.
Sorry for that block out there. I dropped the camera while running.
What kind of camera does she have that, streams? If she's saying camera and not camera phone. So you can see the pink. The neon pink.
Well, I'm gonna leave
My
it
current
alone
lights
and
do not
head
do
to
it
the corner
justice.
of the
Stacy
hospital.
can agree. It is bright. Gonna leave her alone in her little corner of the hospital.
Let's see, where to next? Well, that could have been spookier. Let's get out of here.
If that's it for her, I will be happy but upset all at the same time.
So, I saw a set of stairs near the entrance, and call me avant-garde, but if I were to have a basement, I'd have the stairs lead to them.
Because at the beginning, Rose, I was doing reading the Raven, well, Edgar Allan Poe stories and poems. I suppose I only did 2 stories and a poem, but I went through them much faster than I thought I would. So I figured I'd theme it up a little bit. And I don't know if you guys can tell because my lighting is so wash out my face. But I even tried for the whole dead look. I don't know if you can tell. I did the gray contouring thing. To try to make myself look dead. Because Edgar Allan Poe looked dead. Even when he was alive. But yeah, my light is so bright that you can't see. Yeah, I suppose it depends on where the light goes. One eye is darker than the other though, because I didn't blend it good enough. But a lot of the colors I used were very sparkly. So I have, you won't be able to tell, but my hands are covered in like sparkles. My shirt is covered in sparkles. My testicles are covered in sparkles. There's just so many sparkles. So many.
I know at this point I can
So
pretty
many.
much guarantee that any chance of me getting spooked by spooks is out.
See, Shan? She says spooked. I'm not the only one who says spooked. Ah.
You just can't have a haunted house with a full house. Sigh. I should have known that I wouldn't be the only one drawn out by the allure of a good scare.
Sorry, my eyes are rolling so much they're starting to get sore. I want to like it, but
Still,
I
have one
can't
chance left.
stand her.
2 different attendees have directed me to the basement, so we're gonna take a gander and see if we can't find something frightening.
2 attendees, 2 ghosts.
Alright, I see the door to the stairs. Let's see if it's flooded, as was implied.
I know it's gonna get red. If I could, I would just hand through head. Because Alex straight up said it was flooded. He didn't say it might be flooded. He said it was flooded.
Help me!
Nah.
Oh, Milk Duds, you scared... Oh, it doesn't matter. What's wrong? Are you okay?
Ghost. Another ghost.
He's right behind me! He wants to kill me! Who wants to kill you?
The ghost! Sorry, that was really loud.
God! Oh, God! Oh, God! Oh, God!
The ghost with the gun.
He's gone. I thought he was gonna kill me, too.
I'm a kitty cat. And I dance, 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 and I dance, dance, dance. It's random. There's 3 different things 2 or 3 different things that Lucy says when she dances. 2. Cutie. She says 2 different things when she dances. And, oh, that's why. Sham, because your emote has potato in the name. That's why Lucy said that my computer's a potato. Because it's set to, she's set to say that whenever potato is said in chat.
He took her body. I can't even find a trace of it.
They were ghosts.
Did I pass out for a moment there? How much time has passed?
Not any.
Did that actually happen? Did you guys see that?
See, she doesn't even get up to say my computer's a potato.
Come on, guys, say something. I'm terrified out of my mind here.
Aw, Muffin, you got a scare? In a haunted house that you were told by the locals to not go to?
Is the chat broken? Is the audio still going through? It looks fine on my end. If anyone can hear me, call 911. Ah!
Relax.
Hi, Alex.
Just
Andy.
me.
Sorry.
I heard
Andy.
gunshots.
He's a ghost. Oh, because I hadn't noticed before. He's got empty eyes, too. So, him, bruh, Raven, and Chicky, who was running away from the shooter, all had them black empty eyes, whereas she's got blue eyes.
So that actually happened. It wasn't a ghost?
And he's missing his robes now.
Oh God, I just saw a murder.
From the past.
What did you see exactly?
There was a man. I didn't really see him clearly. He was in the shadows. The woman, she was wearing that stuff patients wear. I thought this hospital wasn't active. Why is there someone in patient stuff?
'Cause she's a ghost.
A good question. Hey, you, come over here. She's having a panic attack or something.
His accent changed.
I want to go check and see if I can find a shooter.
I'm not having a panic attack.
Yes, you are.
I'm just regular panicking. Oh, hello, Raven.
I heard a noise and ran away, but then I realized the way I was running was closed off and ran back this way to get out.
Thank you for that. It's very reassuring.
Yeah, that sounds like for what I would say. It's like, yeah.
It wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
And she got dead eyes too.
Whoever was shooting didn't come to the party, which is good, because I just got the cupcakes out.
Ooh, cupcakes!
God dang it!
Dead eyes.
Sneak up on me like that!
Oh,
Funny
I
how
wonder
they're
if
just
the
going,
rumors are
poof!
true, and they still use this place for experimental medical experiments.
Jill's gonna be the next ghost.
That's a rumor? If I had known there was a rumor like that, I wouldn't have come within a mile of this place.
That rumor is 20 years old at least. The supposed experiments were run during the 90s.
Bruh. Oh, check the haircut. Totally a 90s haircut, too.
Well, I have only heard of them very recently, like yesterday when my bra told me it's not safe to party here.
When my bra told me. I've only heard of them very recently, like yesterday when I was told it's not safe to party here. 20 years ago in the 90s. Ghost. He's totally a ghost.
Yo, do you think the dude who was shooting might have been a government spook?
Government spook? Are you joking?
I never joke.
Just like you totally don't live right now.
You were setting out cupcakes for a Halloween party in an abandoned hospital. If that's not a joke, I don't know what is.
I love Raven. She's a ghost, but I love her. She is the only redeeming quality of this game so far. Except for maybe Andy.
Bruh, don't diss my party. I throw this thrasher every Halloween.
'Cause you're haunting the place.
Stop! Someone was shot.
She's
We
dead.
have to find her. She may still be alive.
No. The only person alive here is you. That's all right, mate. No worries. I don't have the link span for my channel.
After
So
4 shots?
bang, 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 bang. Yeah, totally.
One way or another. Oh, and I don't suppose any of your partygoers could have been dressed as a patient for some reason?
My partygoers could be dressed as anything. Buzz Lightyear to Buzz Aldrin.
Those two aren't actually very far apart.
Well, you know what I meant, bro.
Is it just me, or has Andy been gone a while?
'Cause he's a ghost.
He the huge black dude?
Well,
Maybe
Yeah.
it's him. Sucks to have to play the stereotypes, but it's not like it being a stereotype negates it from being a possibility.
He's totally from the 90s.
no, the man who shot her was much, much smaller than Andy.
Oh, that's good. If Andy runs into him, he can probably just fall on him and deal with him that way. I have cookies to take care of, so peace.
I could have skipped the piece because I thought that was
Don't
it.
you dare leave! There's a murderer about!
I should go too.
Bye, ghosties.
Are you kidding me? What about the murder?
I didn't see anything.
Here. Hey, killer man, if you bother this weird lady who talks to herself, I will be the killer.
Then the Grrr.
Because I will kill you.
Yeah, totally, bruh.
Don't think I won't.
Totally, bruh. And it's... Yeah.
I ought to do it.
Oh, look, and he popped it back down because he doesn't mean business anymore.
Dear lads and ladies, I'm gonna do something crazy.
Like leave the haunted hospital?
I'm going to solve this murder mystery.
Bullshit.
Okay, so somehow I have a connection to streaming, the upload is active, and potato chips. I can even see other streamers doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I can't contact 911 via my phone or any other sites via the internet. Meaning that if the hospital isn't haunted by malevolent spirits, my phone provider certainly is.
Or your camera is just really weird and can connect to Wi-Fi within the hospital that doesn't provide Wi-Fi.
So, if you're watching this, please call the police for me. I'm seeing that I recorded the whole thing, save for the last 3 shots, so there should be plenty of evidence on my stream records.
Whole thing except for the last 3 shots, and it was 4 shots fired. You're missing 3/4 of the thing. And yes, exactly. And apparently they're not in Canada because we're required to have 911 access in Canada. On cell phone?
That being said, I'm not leaving if there's any chance that woman might be alive. Or worse, that Owen might be right and there may be other people being experimented on.
Oh, you're so dumb.
Let's go.
And where exactly do you think you're going?
Andy!
In the flesh. Speaking of which, I ain't seen hide nor hair of your victim's body, or even any evidence of a murder at all.
'Cause they're ghosts.
Owen mentioned that there may have been experiments going on in a hidden part of the hospital. That woman might have been a subject.
Okay, I can see her palm when I move the mouse all the way over. So she's probably got the camera on a selfie stick. Just putting that out there.
Okay, but I'd take anything that Owen fella says with a grain of salt.
'Cause he's a ghost!
But what if the gunshots weren't bullets? What if they were sleeping darts?
Do sleeping darts fire at the same volume as a regular gun?
I don't know. I wouldn't even know if what I heard was a regular gun.
No, they don't, because they're fired using gas and not a...
I'll admit, despite how I may look, I ain't exactly had much involvement with guns myself.
Mm-hmm.
What's that supposed to mean?
He's not a stereotype?
A giant black man. You don't think I look like a gangbanger?
Where did that come from?
No?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
So where did you go?
Honestly, I thought I'd heard something on my way to you. Thought maybe our shooter had run past me.
You didn't see him?
Went and scoured the wing I was in.
Anything?
Not a thing, and I'm sure
How sure?
more sure than you'll reasonably be willing to believe on my word alone.
For the sake of my sanity, I'm going... Is there anywhere in that window
Sorry, I skipped
we can
that, 'cause
steal a secret lab?
Reasons.
Other than the waiting room, every single wall, but not the support beams, thank Almighty, have been knocked out. Looks like some kids were playing at demolition.
Yay, demolition!
If they're hidden, then the government agency behind these clandestine experiments possesses powerful cloaking technology. And it'd probably be best for us just to stand back and let them do their thing.
This guy is very well read and probably a little bit of a nerd. Just saying. Considering he said Goram and cloaking technology.
Never!
Then it's a good thing they don't have cloaking tech and it's just plain old empty.
How do you know that they don't have cloaking tech?
Because last I checked, this wasn't Star Trek.
He's totally a nerd.
Sorry, you're right. Getting a little paranoid here. We should check the other wings.
Sounds good, but I want to make sure he doesn't sneak past us while we investigate.
Why do you have salt? Is it for ghosts? Does salt work on ghosts?
Yeah. Wow, she's supposed to be a ghost hunter and she doesn't know salt works on ghosts?
Not that I know of. I use it for ice and stuff when I'm spelunking. Throw a bit evenly across the ground in front of the door and we'll know if it gets opened.
Good. Let's check on the others.
You know, the best idea might be to just get up and go.
Get out! Get out of the hospital!
Not without at least looking, and definitely not with those other two being idiots and staying here.
They don't have a choice.
It's hard to argue with that logic.
Then let's go!
Sure thing.
Another thing I've
Check it out
noticed, she
first.
has pupils, except for when she's in her scared face, and these guys have no pupils at all, so they are definitely ghosts.
Which do you think is in greater danger?
Honestly, us.
Yeah.
Not even making a joke this time. But out of the four of us, who is most likely to be shot without provocation? Just asking. And again, between the four of us, which one is risking drawing a lot of attention to herself by live streaming a potential clandestine government operation?
Oh, yeah. Good point. Thanks for that.
It's okay. Seems like my job today is to keep things scary.
All right. Where do I go next?
I'll go find Raven. I want to go see more Sass.
I get a response to that? If I get on the internet and find out you all didn't call the police, I'm quitting streaming and going back to work at local commodity exchange.
Frenchies!
What is it?
Or thrift store. Value Village.
My chat finally updated, but the only response I got was to go check on Raven.
Hi, I'm your chat.
They probably want me to rescue the damsel in distress.
No, I just want to hear her sassy comments to you.
Come on, guys. I'm a damsel, too.
I think if you were in distress, you'd be more inclined to leave.
I think I've played too many video games. I can't just leave after seeing something like that.
I would totally leave after seeing something like that.
Yeah, well, smart.
And call the
people would be
cops.
to run. Either you've got a murderer or a ghost. Either way, it's not something you're exactly equipped to deal with.
I like this guy.
No, it's cool. I got my photon beam pack in the trunk.
Yeah, you gotta get out first.
Have you actually even seen the movies?
No.
Dear lads and ladies, please forgive my heresy, but I've only seen the 2016 version.
Could be worse. Could have only played the video game.
The video games are good.
Shouldn't be surprised to hear that from a streamer.
You know, we've been walking and talking for a while, but I haven't seen any sign of Raven.
Because she doesn't want to be seen. She's a ghost.
Maybe she took flight.
Ah, very punny. Raven! Raven!
This is one of the bigger wings of the hospital. I spent a long time here earlier searching for a way to the basement.
I thought you said it was flooded.
I was hoping some part wasn't.
Sounds familiar.
Anyway, we should split up if we want to look for her. Her and the killer, too.
Are
Sorry.
you, sure we need to split up?
Totally.
I thought you said you were equipped to deal with a killer.
Exactly.
I said I had an electron pack, not a way to deal with the murderer.
You'll be no worse off than you were when you decided to stay here.
Yep.
Just scream real loud if you start getting shot.
Oh, sure. Like you wouldn't hear the gunshots. I gotta be honest, I'm starting to regret my decision to stay. Could someone remind me why I haven't run for the hills yet? Oh yeah, because I can't leave that dumb girl or that idiot frat bro here to get ganked.
They're already dead.
Seriously, this is like the plot to a bad B movie. Let's just ignore the only one who has any sense. We sure won't get murdered. Okay, yeah, I really don't have an excuse to talk. I just don't want to find out Raven or Owen, even though I literally only just met them, died because I left them here alone.
You shouldn't be worried about us.
Hello, Raven.
Raven?
This is not a place for you.
Because you're alive.
What is that supposed to mean?
It means that this is not a place for you. You should not stay here.
I can't argue with that. We should leave. You should come help me convince Owen, too.
No, this is not a place for you.
'Cause she's dead and you're not.
This is our place.
You cluing in yet?
Is this some kind of joke?
God, this girl is
I'm
dense.
having a real hard time reading this conversation.
Do you know of the first death in this hospital?
No, but I have a feeling you're going to tell me.
A bird. No suffering patient. Just an idiot bird who landed in setting cement. A fossil before its time.
Okay, what does that have to do with anything?
It was a raven.
It was the first thing to die here.
Okay, how about we pause your audition for an extra in a horror movie and focus on getting you out of here?
But I haven't told you about all the other deaths.
That's nice. Let's get out of here. Andy, I found Raven!
Haven't told you about all the other deaths.
That's great.
Now let's get out of... Did she just do the superhero thing?
Poof!
Not the one with the landing, the thing where they disappear when you look away for a second.
'Cause she's a ghost.
I always found that whole thing sort of contrived. Shows what I know.
Where's Raven?
She ran off.
At least she's fine. No sign of you.
My conversation with Raven makes
Oh
me
my
think that
God.
whole thing was some contrived prank.
Yes.
I'm certainly starting to wonder about the murderer.
Ghost.
Let's just go look for Owen. So, is this how you expected to be scared on your Halloween night?
No, but I can also safely say it's not my worst.
Really? A murder isn't your scariest Halloween?
Not really.
You wanna expand on that for our viewers at home?
Not particularly.
Fair, I can't force you. But, don't you wanna be famous?
Not even a little.
Don't blame me, Andy.
Fine.
Oh my God.
Welcome to the... Oh.
It's you.
Good to see you, too.
Have you seen anything? Did anything at your party get disturbed?
Why hasn't her battery in her camera run out yet?
No, the only thing getting started
How did
was
he get
me,
tall?
not you. How can I throw a party with you trying to scare people with some dumb murder story?
You think I made that up?
Cha.
Chaw.
Do you think I'd actually be setting up for a party if I thought there was a real murder?
Murderer. Type
No way,
of.
bruh. If there was someone murdering people, I'd be moving this party to somewhere a little less likely to include gunfire. Bruh, I'm not dumb.
I could guess
You
otherwise.
seem pretty dumb.
Don't be rude, Holmes.
Fine, do you think he came this way?
No, I'm 100% sure no
Pop
one came
color.
this way. After getting back, I made sure to look everywhere for arrivals, but no one was here yet. Such a buzzkill.
'Cause you're dead.
Okay. I mean, suppose if you haven't seen anything... Viewers, did you see anything on our way here?
Didn't you say they weren't responding?
I get something every once in a while.
Yay, it's time to choose
They told me
something.
to check here after all. You lads and ladies better have called the police. Speaking of which, why haven't you gone and called the police? Do you think I'm lying too?
I think I already made my stance on the police very clear. That and I think you saw a ghost, not a murder.
Really? A ghost?
3 ghosts. 4? Technically 5, I suppose.
Now, I make a living off of playing video games, so realize who is saying this when you hear it. I think you have been playing too many video games. Look, I'll confess something to you. And my viewers. I had no illusions. I fully expected to find nothing except for a few jump scares and false positives. I don't actually believe in ghosts.
Well, you've talked to 3 of them and saw 5.
And I believe I told you earlier, this place is actually haunted. You think I would say that if I didn't think ghosts were real?
'Cause I am a ghost.
Yes! In fact, I think there's several industries built on that very concept.
I believe in ghosts, and I think you saw one. Maybe even 2.
Oh,
Maybe even 5.
why not? At this point, I'm starting to wonder if you might be right. Regardless, I'm done. I'm out.
Probably for the best.
Are you staying?
Yeah, at least until the cops arrive.
After your whole spiel about not liking them?
Didn't say I'd say hello, but I'll wait till they get here for you.
Yeah, I'll call them as soon as I get a real signal again. Might be doubling up unless my viewers are sadists, but...
Yeah, I get you. Stay safe, you hear?
Can do. Help me!
There she is again.
You again? You're alive?
Dead eyes. No.
He's right behind me! He wants to kill me!
Dead eyes. She's dead.
You already pulled this stunt with me once. I am not buying it. Do you have any idea how badly you scared me? Will you cut that out? I get it. This is some tootin' prank. I'm talking to you!
Oh no.
What is going on?
A new ghost?
Okay, maybe this isn't a prank. He's right behind me! He wants to kill me!
It's a loop.
Help me! What's happening? What?
She died a long time ago.
They're ghosts?
No, it's just her. The man isn't there. Not even in the sense of a dead spirit. It's all just a shadow of the trauma from when she died.
He shot me.
No, you just stood in the middle of a shadow play. They can't hurt you.
I like the glitching. That's cool.
How? How? You know all of this.
'Cause I'm a ghost too.
I told you before, I'm here for the ghosts. This isn't exactly my first haunting.
You're acting like this is normal.
Do you really think it's so abnormal? Even after seeing it? After coming here specifically for this?
Why would you want to tell me all this? Don't you want to keep something like this secret? I'm broadcasting to the entire world.
No, you're not. Just me.
Come on. You think ghosts would be a secret if something like that worked? I can't say what you're broadcasting, but it isn't this.
He's right behind me! He wants to kill me! What's to stop me from running away and telling the whole world what I've seen?
Common sense?
But ghosts are real! I can prove it if I bring someone here.
Won't work. Hauntings are rarely this explicit, or passive for that matter. I doubt she'll be here tomorrow.
But I can't just forget about this. Ghosts are real. The afterlife is real. I'm an atheist. Or, well, I was, like, 5 minutes ago.
You can still be an atheist and believe in the afterlife. Afterlife is
It's
just
not
what
hard to
happens
walk
after
away
you
from
die.
this. One frightening event doesn't need to warp your life.
But it did for you, didn't it?
It might have. They're starting to move faster. Something about tonight is causing everything here to become more active.
Wouldn't it be because of, Halloween?
Wouldn't be impossible. Wouldn't be any more likely than any other day of the year, though. Flooding's gone. You should leave now. Unless you want this to be part of your life, now is the time to go home. I'm going to the haunted basement.
Okay, Ghosts are real. This place is actually haunted. There's a woman behind me dying on repeat, and the thing that bothers me most is who have I been talking to? I've seen responses. You've told me what to do.
Yep.
Who are you? Are you a ghost too?
Yes. Let me say yes.
Yeah, you would shut up at such an important time. So tell me, oh ghost ex machina, what should I do? Should I listen to Andy and leave? Or should I do what I want to do and follow him?
It's like she just... Her face didn't move away from the camera, but she just went... like, mouth right on the microphone. Follow Andy because...
Needed to hear someone say it. Even if,
I want to see her suffer.
objectively, I shouldn't be listening to you, Ghost Ex Machina. But just like before, I couldn't forget this. It would stick with me. It would haunt me. Haunt me! Oh, give it a rest. Let's go. Okay, if these were flooded earlier, it's impossible to tell.
Flooding was a ghost.
This place looks as clean as if the hospital were still active. That's actually more spooky than if it were properly worn. Alright, here I go. Switching to night mode, yeah.
Fox, go back to bed. Oh, I suppose it's 5 a.m. there. It's morning now. Holy shit. 1 o'clock.
Well, that
Hopefully
didn't
this
help
won't
at
take
all.
too much longer.
It's darker than black.
Hey, we can see you in color instead of night mode.
It's Vanta Black in here. Not even scared, just seriously thinking about turning around considering how dark it is.
Okay.
What's that? Ghost Ex Machina?
There's something behind you.
Someone behind?
Oh, look! It's the little needle man!
The patient is taking well to the treatment. They are beginning to respond to phenomena our instruments can only barely detect. Currently, the only manifestation of concern are the infrequent losses of lucidity. So have you heard of that new show, Survivor?
New show, Survivor?
Patient entered cardiac arrest when moved to the old burn ward. At the same time, our instruments spiked wildly. No phenomena were visually, audibly, or somatically observed by the men save for a bird that seemed to have been distressed by the same event.
Where am I? What's going on? Why can't I move?
We will be storing her in the mortuary freezer.
What? No! No! No, please! I can't stand that! Please! I'm not dead!
You totally are!
No! No!
Sorry, we killed Jill.
I'm alive.
No, you're not.
What the rice pudding was that? What? No response, gals and ghouls? I can't believe I didn't think of that one immediately. Way better than Ghost Ex Machina.
You shouldn't have done that.
My goodness.
You took a grip on the veil and with one fell swoop tore it away. You could have walked away before, but now...
Okay, that's cool. That is actually really cool.
Our world is your own!
Told you, we killed her. She died. I shouldn't be happy.
Hey, lads and ladies. Sorry about the live stream.
Life stream? And now she has dead eyes?
Yeah, the entire thing got messed up. Apparently there were seriously bad wiring, basically creating a huge EMP field on the building. I spent so long scaring myself that I didn't even realize there was a problem until I left. Even the footage is corrupt. It's too bad you guys missed out. This is terrifying. I grabbed a couple dozen cookies from Star Chips as a treat for myself after the whole experience. It was... Just a sec, this screen is being weird again.
Told you it was the dead eyes.
It must be still messed up from the hospital.
Hey, Raven.
Man, I guess I'm still on edge. I'll be right back.
Zoop. Oh look, it's the stairway to the basement. Ghost hands.
Bro, could you like open the door for me? These cookies would be like perfect for my party, bro.
Kitty! Say dude! Okay. So, yes, I want to quit. Gonna call it there because it is 1 a.m. and I have to work in about 10 hours and I need some sleep before work. So, that's gonna be a thing. Let's go see if there is someone to raid. Haven't raided someone in a while. I don't know who to raid. Who can we raid? Ooh. I'm being hosted by so many people. Why? I want this one. Don't know who to raid. Let's see in Discord to see who's, excuse me, live. Who's most recent live person? Oh my god. Let's see. Oh. We've been live for half an hour. Let's see. TSS. Okay, so yeah, I can't find anyone to read. So that will be it for tonight. Thanks again, everyone, for stopping by and hanging out and listening to my blessed tones while I read to you again. I am tentatively planning a stream Thursday night. I don't know what kind of stream it's going to be, but for sure, I will be doing a stream Saturday at about 9 p.m. Atlantic time. I will post in all the usual spots when I decide what I'm doing. So yes, thank you so much for coming by. Oh my goodness. Oh. Thanks again, everyone, for stopping by and for hanging out. And y'all have yourselves a good night. Bye.